When Vanessa abandoned Jack and their twin daughters, emptying their bank account on her way out, she thought she was escaping a burden. She never imagined that her betrayal would awaken a hidden talent in Jack that would transform their lives, and lead to a confrontation she never saw coming. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. I can't do this anymore, Jack. I'm leaving. Jack Peterson stared in disbelief at his wife of 3 years as she tossed her designer clothes into a suitcase. Their bedroom, once a sanctuary of love, now felt like a battlefield. What about Emma and Lily? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The twins were playing downstairs, unaware that their world was about to shatter. Vanessa didn't even look up from her packing. They're not my biological children. You knew I never wanted kids when we met. I tried, Jack. I really did. But I can't pretend anymore. Jack felt his heart break. After losing his first wife Sarah during childbirth 5 years ago, he had been both mother and father to the twins. When he met Vanessa 2 years later, he thought he'd found someone to complete their family. How wrong he had been. So that's it? You're just walking away from us? Jack's hands trembled as he spoke. Vanessa finally looked at him, her eyes cold. I've met someone. He doesn't have baggage. We're moving to Europe next week. She zipped her suitcase and walked past him. I'll send someone for the rest of my things. The divorce papers will arrive tomorrow. Before Jack could respond, the front door slammed shut. Just like that, she was gone. Downstairs, he heard one of the twins call out, "Daddy, where's Mommy going with her bag?" Jack collapsed onto the bed, tears streaming down his face. How was he supposed to explain to 2 5-year-old girls that the woman they called Mommy, for the past 3 years had abandoned them? The next morning, Jack sat at the kitchen table surrounded by bills. Without Vanessa's income as a marketing executive, their financial situation looked grim. His salary as a high school English teacher wouldn't cover the mortgage on their suburban home, the twins' preschool, and all their other expenses. Emma tugged at his sleeve. "Daddy, when is Mommy coming back?" Her innocent question pierced his heart. Emma and Lily had their mother's auburn hair and his blue eyes. They were perfect little mixtures of him and Sarah, his college sweetheart who never got to hold her daughters. Sweethearts, Jack gathered both girls onto his lap. Mommy Vanessa has decided to live somewhere else. His voice cracked. She won't be coming back to live with us. Lily's bottom lip trembled. Didn't she love us anymore? Jack hugged them tighter. Sometimes grown-ups make choices that hurt others. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. You are perfect, wonderful girls, and I love you more than anything in the world. But who will read us bedtime stories with the funny voices? Emma asked, tears welling in her eyes. I will, Jack promised. I'll do all the voices, even the princess ones. That night, after finally getting the twins to sleep, Jack sat alone in the kitchen. The divorce papers had arrived as promised. Vanessa was not seeking any custody rights to the twins. She had also emptied their joint bank account of nearly $20,000. Money they had been saving for the girls' education. Jack rubbed his tired eyes. He had no idea how he was going to manage, but one thing was certain, he would do whatever it took to give his daughters the life they deserved. 3 months later, Jack sat in his car outside the twins' new daycare center. He had been forced to sell their house and move into a small 2-bedroom apartment across town. The twins now shared a bedroom decorated with fairy lights and princess posters. Jack's attempt to make the transition easier for them. He was exhausted. Each day began at 5 a.m. so he could prepare lunches, get the girls ready, and drop them at daycare before rushing to teach his classes. After school he picked them up, made dinner, helped with their homework, gave them baths and read them stories. Once they were asleep, he graded papers and prepared lessons until midnight. To make ends meet, he had taken a weekend job at a local bookstore. His mother watched the twins during those shifts, but at 70 years old, she couldn't help more than that. The twins were struggling too. Lily had become withdrawn, while Emma had developed night terrors. Their therapist explained that this was normal for children experiencing abandonment, but it broke Jack's heart to see them suffering. As he drove to school that morning, his phone rang. It was the principal. Jack, we need to talk about your performance lately, she said without preamble. Jack gripped the steering wheel tighter. I know I've been distracted, but you've missed 3 department meetings, your lesson plans have been submitted late, and parents are complaining that you're not responding to their emails. I'm doing my best, Sarah, he said, using the principal's first name. They had been colleagues for 7 years. The girls. I understand your situation is difficult, she interrupted, her voice softening slightly. But we have standards to maintain. Consider this a verbal warning. After hanging up, Jack pulled over and rested his forehead against the steering wheel. He was failing at everything, as a father, as a teacher. Vanessa's betrayal had left him drowning. That evening, as he was preparing dinner, Emma asked the question he had been dreading. "Daddy, why wasn't I good enough for Mommy to stay?" Jack dropped the spoon he was holding and knelt in front of his daughter. "Listen to me, Emma. You and Lily are perfect. What happened is about Vanessa, not you. Some people aren't ready to be parents. But you're ready," Lily said quietly from the doorway. "You're our daddy and mommy now." Jack pulled both girls into a hug, fighting back tears. "Yes, I am. And I promise I will never ever leave you." That night, Jack made a decision. Something had to change. He couldn't keep going like this. One Saturday morning, while shelving books at the bookstore, Jack overheard a conversation between two customers. "My friend's husband makes a fortune writing children's books," a woman said. "Started as a hobby because he made up stories for his kids." Jack paused, a book in his hand. Every night, he created elaborate tales for Emma and Lily featuring two brave princess warriors named, not coincidentally, Emma and Lily. The girls loved these stories, always begging for just one more adventure. That evening, after the twins were asleep, Jack sat at his small desk and began writing. The words flowed easily as he described the magical world he had created for his daughters. By dawn, he had completed the first draft of The Twin Princesses of Everwood Forest. Over the next month, Jack spent every free moment refining the story and creating rough illustrations. It became his therapy, a way to channel his love for his daughters and his pain over Vanessa's betrayal. When the manuscript was finished, Jack researched children's book publishers and sent out queries. Most experts warned that the chances of being published were slim, but Jack kept trying, sending his work to publisher after publisher. Then, on a rainy Tuesday afternoon, an email arrived from Harper Children's Books. They loved his story and wanted to discuss publication options. Jack stared at the screen in disbelief, then let out a whoop of joy so loud that his elderly neighbor knocked on the wall. 1 year later, Jack sat in a crowded bookstore, watching as dozens of children and their parents waited excitedly. The Twin Princesses of Everwood Forest had become a sensation, selling over 100,000 copies in 6 months. Harper had signed him for a 6-book series, and there was talk of an animated adaptation. The advance and royalties had changed their lives. Jack had reduced his teaching schedule to part-time and moved the family to a comfortable house with a backyard where the twins could play. Most importantly, he was present for his daughters, no longer stretched to breaking point. Emma and Lily, now 6, sat beside him at the signing table, proudly telling everyone that they were the real twin princesses. They had blossomed in the past year, their night terrors and withdrawal replaced by confidence and joy. "Daddy," Lily whispered during a lull in the signing, "I saw that lady watching us." Jack looked up to see a woman standing at the back of the crowd. His heart stopped. Vanessa. She looked different, thinner, with shorter hair and less expensive clothes. Their eyes met across the room and Jack felt a storm of emotions: anger, pain, confusion. After the signing, as the store was clearing out, she approached. Emma recognized her first. "Mommy Vanessa?" she said uncertainly. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. "Hello, Emma." "Hello, Lily. You've grown so much." Jack stood protectively near his daughters. "What are you doing here?" "I saw the book, your picture on the back cover." She hesitated. "Can we talk privately?" Jack asked the bookstore manager to watch the twins for a few minutes, then led Vanessa to a quiet corner. "My life fell apart," she said without preamble. "Thomas, the man I left with, he cheated on me 6 months later. I lost my job when his company downsized. I've been back in the States for 2 months, working as a waitress." She looked at him with pleading eyes. "I made a terrible mistake, Jack. I miss you. I miss the girls." Jack studied the woman he had once loved. There was a time when he would have given anything to hear these words. Now he felt only pity. "Where were you when Lily had pneumonia and spent 3 nights in the hospital?" he asked quietly. "Where were you when Emma cried herself to sleep every night for months? Where were you when I was working 2 jobs and still couldn't afford their birthday presents?" Vanessa looked down. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness." "This isn't about forgiveness," Jack interrupted. "It's about consequences. You walked away from 2 little girls who loved you. You emptied our bank account and left us struggling." "I can change," she whispered. "Please just give me another chance." "The girls have been through enough," Jack said firmly. "They're finally healing. I won't risk their hearts being broken again." "I have rights," Vanessa said, her tone suddenly changing. "I was their stepmother for 3 years." Jack's expression hardened. You signed away any legal rights in the divorce. You stated clearly that you wanted no responsibility for children who weren't biologically yours. He took a step closer. If you try to disrupt their lives now, I will fight you with everything I have. And I have the resources to do that now. He turned to walk away, then stopped. The money you took? I used it as the dedication in my book. To V, whose departure forced me to discover strengths I never knew I had. Your betrayal became our blessing. That evening, as Jack tucked the twins into bed, Emma asked, "Is Mommy Vanessa coming back to live with us?" Jack sat on the edge of their bed. "No, sweetheart. She's not." "Good," Lily said with surprising firmness. "We don't need her. We have you. And you have me," Jack promised. "Always and forever." After the girls fell asleep, Jack went to his study, a luxury he couldn't have imagined having a year ago. On his desk sat the manuscript for his next book, The Twin Princesses and the Dragon's Heart. Beside it was a framed photo of Sarah, his first wife, taken during her pregnancy. She was smiling radiantly, hands cradling her belly. "We did it," he whispered to the photo. "They're happy. They're thriving." His phone pinged with an email notification. His agent had forwarded a message from a famous film director interested in adapting his books. Jack smiled as he read it, thinking about how excited the twins would be. 2 years ago, Jack had believed his life was over when Vanessa walked out. He had feared he wasn't strong enough to be both mother and father to his girls. Now he understood that love wasn't about being perfect. It was about being present, being consistent, being there no matter what. Every morning when Emma and Lily ran into his room at dawn, jumping on his bed with their wild hair and gap-toothed smiles, he was reminded of the everyday miracle they had become. Their family of 3 wasn't broken or incomplete. It was exactly as it should be. As for Vanessa, Jack had heard through mutual friends that she had moved to another state. He felt no anger toward her anymore, only gratitude. Her leaving had indeed forced him to discover strengths he never knew he had. Some people come into your life as blessings, others as lessons. Vanessa had been both. And the lesson she had taught him was perhaps the most valuable of all, that sometimes when your heart breaks, it breaks open, making room for more love than you ever thought possible.